I'd like to call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with the public hearing on historic zoning regulations. And I see we have a couple planning commission members here. Bob, can I pass that off to you and Ann and Ceil?
I'm just the historical society.
Oh, okay. I thought
Historical
you-
society.
She didn't have to, okay. Yeah, sure, I can give you an overview of what we're trying to propose here. These are additional zoning regulations that'll go into our zoning plan. This is in relation to the downtown designation, now called Step 3, which I'm not sure what it'll be called next week, but it has changed a couple of things. But one of the things that is required is additional zoning regs. The first part of it was, which was already adopted a few months back, was the subdivision rules. Thank you. I'm losing my mind here. So this is the second part. This is for downtown, historic preservation of downtown. What we did was we got us some samples from different towns and modified them to what we thought was best for Fairhaven in the opinion of the Planning Commission. So what we did in general was to use that template and then come to what we thought was palatable for Fairhaven. And there are people that are very stringent and want very stringent things. The historical people in the state wanted it. They wanted things like no vinyl windows, or that's the one that always stuck out for me. Because the theory is you want to be as close to historic building as you had, but you have to assume that there's a cost to that. And if you only have wood windows, it's much more expensive than a vinyl window or something like that. So we modified those kind of things, and we went back and forth with the people in the Historic Society to come up with a consensus. And essentially, what we've done is we put words in there that say things like, if you can prove your change to the downtown building, for instance, is too expensive to do it by these rules, how will you accommodate? And so it puts the onus on the Planning Commission to make sure that we preserve as well as we can the downtown area, and these rules are for that. It also, as I said before, it suffices for the requirements for the downtown designation of Step 3. We are slowly getting there, and this is a big step to adopt these rules tonight. Can I take any questions or anything if anybody wants? You got anything to add in?
I don't. You did quite well. You did good. I know, you did quite well.
Break my arm, pat myself on the back.
And the board did have, we had in our packets a copy of your draft regulations, so we could look through them. Okay. I think I'll start with, are there any questions from the people that are here for Ceil?
So, can you tell me what the downtown designated area is? I know that everything around the park is on the National Historic Register, but does it go down to?
It goes right now, and this is also subject to change because the Rutland Regional Planning Commission is doing their 5-year plan, or 7-8-year plan. But it essentially goes from St. Mary's down through to, that's where it gets a little difficult because it may go to the bottom of the hill. We are pushing for, not necessarily historic district, but a business area that would get us all the way south of Skyline. But these plans are specifically for what you would consider the downtown. There's a little bit of ambiguity in there, so if we find a historic building that is maybe farther out of the downtown, but historic and preservable and worth preserving, these rules will give us a chance to comment on that. So that's some of the ambiguity that Planning Commission put in there for just that reason.
Because we do have historic homes
Yes,
south of the park.
yes.
Yeah,
And
certainly
so-
way before Skyline, yeah,
But-
I mean, of the Adams house, for
It's
example.
specifically, in accordance with, I'm trying to think what it says. The Fairhaven Local Historic District documents the architectural layout, that's not what I wanted. It is basically downtown, around the park, to, like I said, to the grades, to St. Mary's, and back this way.
Sort of like what's right behind your head.
Yeah.
That's the updating one right there?
I don't know which one it is. It's basically this outside line here. And so
So the Great
these,
Soul, Durfee's Funeral
Great-
Home, all
right.
of those things are considered to be
considered
downtown.
in the
This would be
district.
St.
Yeah,
Mary's.
thank you.
I've been looking at it this whole time thinking, that's it right there.
That's pretty much it. And for, well, I don't want to complicate things, but we are trying to get a much more broader business district involved, which is not the same thing as this. So I won't complicate comments on that.
Okay. Any other questions about the zoning, the draft zoning district for historical district session from people here? Rose?
Well, what exactly is this going to mean to the, like the property owners and the business owners? I mean, how much more are they going to have to put in to accommodate all these
They're
rules?
not going to have to do anything.
Okay.
If they want to substantially change their down of the facades of their downtown, or add a story to it or something like that, there are some provisions that they have to make. One of the things that they wanted us to do, which we thought was kind of onerous, was if you have some windows that you can't replace at this point, we didn't want just to have them boarded up, but they wanted us to make them much more. They wanted to make them look like they were windows, and we said we can live with less of that, but not forever. And so if you're trying to rehab a building, we're not gonna step on you and tell you can't put plywood in the windows for a while until you can get the windows you want, but we will comment on the zoning regulations require us to comment, and you will have to come to us with a plan for what the windows would be, which is not much different than what you get in the rest of the town anyways.
So if they have to replace the windows, they, under the historical downtown thing, they would have to replace them with windows that would take the historic aspect. In other words, you couldn't like, if they were arched windows, you couldn't, like, put in regular windows and then just fill in the arch? I've seen that done.
Yeah, not necessarily, it's not an absolute no, but we would really want them to be as close to historical as they could be, particularly in buildings that are downtown and that are there now, that are established. It does, I'm trying to find where the exact wording for what it says to that. Exterior modifications that restore the building to its historical appearance or bring it closer to the conditions than its current state based on documentary evidence of historic. That's the Planning Commission may waive and approve application for exterior modification if the applicant demonstrates that the proposed work will result in one of the following. The exterior removal of modern materials or alterations that presently cover historic or architectural. That's not exactly what I was looking for.
Weren't we doing like a timeline? When they came in to apply
Right.
and to tell us exactly, you know, what they planned for the modifications. And then there'd be like a timeline for them to get those done. And then if they didn't, they'd have to come back.
So this is what I wanted to read. So it makes it a little less scary for owners. If an application is submitted for an alteration of the exterior appearance of the building specified as an integral resource of local historic district, the Planning Commission shall meet with the owner of the building to devise an economically feasible plan for preservation of the building. So that we fully expect to work with anybody that wants to do renovations and stuff in downtown, and we fully expect that we will be able to compromise as well as preserve.
Are there any grants that?
Well, one of the things that the downtown district allows us for is there's and I wish, I don't believe I brought that with me. There are, yes, the short answer is yes. And if we get the downtown designation, it opens us up for all kinds of transportation grants to fix sidewalks.
Rehabilitation grants
Yep.
for the buildings.
There's a basic grant that is almost, it's not promised, but it's almost a given of $25,000 that other towns have got. Everybody gets it, and sometimes it's a rolling thing for a few years that would allow us to have maybe even a part-time person to work on projects and work on getting other grants that we could produce in there. And that's kind of one of those things that these regulations are a step toward. They don't guarantee us anything, but without them, we don't have a chance.
Right, but with that specific grant, it would be for specifically downtown revitalization.
So there's a list of probably 15 different grants that are that we become more eligible for because of the downtown designation. It's an important and helpful part of what Fairhaven should become.
But they're still competitive grants, correct?
They are, but the $25,000, I shouldn't, the $25,000 one sounded almost like it's a starter. They want you to get going, so it's one of those things that they have money to give, and they give it to downtown designated areas, now called Step 3 designated areas, which is kind of an unoriginal name.
And how do we address when the home, because there are homes, how do we address it with the homeowner? I mean, it's a lot easier when it's a school because, you know,
If they're in the downtown downtown historic district area, then they will have to follow these rules.
Okay.
And
Because I mean, when one of the houses sell, you know, like recently, the Parkhurst,
right.
you know, the Parkhurst estate sold, you know, and do we make that a part of, you know, when people buy a house that is in the historic district, what the rules and regs are, almost like a homeowners association kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like that, but, you know, we specifically wrote these rules as loosely as we could because we understand the economic part of it. And for instance, there was a long discussion about a particular house that has a beautiful porch that should be saved, but it may be economically unfeasible. So if somebody was to come in and bring us their plans without that, we would encourage that, but we wouldn't necessarily say it was a requirement to get a permit.
Yeah.
It just would be, we would love to see an alternative, we would love to see what, and we would, the rules give us enough oomph to say, please try, and if they can't, why not? And then we agree.
I mean, just case in point, when I was working at this school, and we wanted to make it accessible, and I went to Skip and said, we can't change the front facade because that was the plan, and he said, sure we can. I said, no, we can't. So he called the state and found out, no, we can't. Those kinds of things. But when we wanted to put things on the window, like to shade, remember we put that. Now that doesn't change the front facade.
Right.
You know,
It's
so the
temporary.
shape of the windows, in this town, there are a lot of windows that you don't want to change, but the problem is they cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Each.
Yeah,
Right.
to put the glass in.
Well, that's what I was actually, Bob, is there money for homeowners to, that, you know, like you said, okay, so this porch, if they wanted to make it historic, but they just don't have the money, are there grants for those sort of people?
There may be.
I think there is.
There are
may be,
historic
but
preservation grants.
they
Right,
aren't
but they're
specific,
matching.
they aren't specific to these regulations. It wouldn't be,
Okay.
you couldn't say, because of a regulation, I'm automatically eligible for a grant.
Okay.
So, but there are all kinds of grants out there for that kind of thing, and both public and private. Probably easier to do
Preservation
it.
Trust.
Yeah, preservation trust, and probably easier to get in a public building than it would be a private, but it is not, you know, for the good of historical preservation.
Case in point, the Red House. I
Yeah,
mean, we were able to document it even though we couldn't save it because it was never put on the National Historic Register. How that happened, we don't know. And because it was the oldest house.
Restored spots.
That red house. So that's why the oldest current home, we believe, is across from Young's Farm, which was the Young's homestead.
the brick house, or at least the brick part of it, probably.
Right. I mean, so many houses that have been changed. Betty Allen Barnow's house doesn't really look a lot like it did back then, but it was a Cape Cod, it's still a Cape Cod, but.
I think is there any other comments from someone? Board members, any questions or comments?
No.
Just for the record, there are 3 members of the commission here. I failed to mention that Sam was on the board too.
And yeah, I did want to say, as a member of the planning commission who's followed this, I'm really thankful to have Bob and Ann and the attention to detail that they've brought to this project. I have no questions, but thank you for asking.
So,
I have no questions at this
no
time either.
questions? No questions? So let's see here, we talked a lot about facade and everything. Bob, can you explain? So, when I looked through the rough draft, it looked pretty good. I wasn't real clear when you start going inside. You've got a building that's historic. We've talked a lot about the windows and the facade. Inside, what's your thoughts? Because I saw some mention to, you might have something like the old playhouse that's up there, and but then I think in terms on the other end of the where towards I think above Calvi's and around there, where the upstairs area, how would you handle that inside?
There are not much in terms of, there's not much in terms of inside construction. Our zoning regulations already address downtown businesses in that the front of a downtown business can't be an apartment, but you could do the back side of a ground level apartment. So I think it says 50%. So that we tried not to do anything inside that would bother and as you're worried, make it that much more expensive.
Sure.
And with the possible exception of the playhouse, there isn't a lot of inside, particularly in the buildings downtown. Maybe some of the homes around here have some specific things that are worthwhile, but for instance, like the marble house and the carriage house, when they were renovated, they couldn't replace the molding, so they did plaster casts of the molding and put that up, and it's perfect, and we would be more than happy to see that. The intention is to give people guidance and to have some protection for our historical buildings, but not to be too much of an ogre about it. So no, there isn't.
So, and one other. So what's next? What do you see as this is a process of getting your zoning up to date? Is there like one more meeting, multiple? What's your timeline?
This is just the historic.
This is just the historic.
Oh yeah, this is just the historic piece you want to put into we just approved our zoning update here, but you want to put that in, I understand.
Yes.
What's your next step?
So you guys approved this, this particular part of the zoning. That finishes the requirements, the zoning requirements for the downtown designation, step 3. So that both, the historical and the subdivision. Those are the two requirements from the state for zoning changes. We have several other steps to go through. Some of them have changed from when we started. And at some point we will come back to the board and ask you to redirect us again to go for it or not. I mean, it'll be your choice to say whether you want to go for the step 3 process. There are probably, I don't know, what is it, 10 or 15 individual steps. Mm-hmm. Some of them we have completed because we were in the downtown designation, mm-hmm. but someplace in the fall, last maybe October, November, it changed. It all shut down, and they changed it to step 3. Call it step 3. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit. It may be better because some of the approval processes, you don't have to go to individual agencies in the state. The guy that runs it, this Gary Holloway, will be doing staff level approvals. So that may help us. The major reason for doing this, if you remember, the biggest reason to do this is being able to be less encumbered by Act 250. Act 250 is still there, but we, particularly in the downtown area, and about a half mile outside of that designation you see there, would be, development would be less bothered by Act 250. One, because we have subdivision rules, and two, because we are preserving our downtown district.
So am I right in saying that this is a draft of the historical section? The planning commission will be coming back in the future with the final version, or are you looking, see, I'm trying to find out, are you looking for a motion to accept?
Yep.
Of the historical part.
Because what I'm looking at is a document that says draft. Now,
Which is, it is until you...
But okay, this is the final thing.
Yes.
So what you're looking for, trying to find out what you're looking for
Oh, I'm sorry.
for us, the board. And so what you're looking for is a motion to accept the local historic district section for our zoning plan?
Yes.
I would make a motion to accept this local historic, I'm sorry?
Joe, you want to?
Not to be a stickler.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
I'm sure you can,
I think you have to warn it.
and I'm sure you can do this with no hassle, but this is a public hearing before the actual board meeting. You've heard the comments from the residents. Now at the next meeting, we will put the approval of the zoning.
That's,
Oh, okay.
I just
At
don't
least
want
that's
us,
my
I don't
understanding
want
of
us
how it
to step in something that right, I just,
I'm almost sure you can do it at a public hearing, but another 2 weeks is not gonna kill anybody.
I was just gonna say,
Meeting at 7, right?
well, the next meeting will be after the election, which will be March 17th.
Right.
It's right now,
No, it's right now, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
No, but see what I'm saying is, this, I don't know if we properly won this for a vote so that anyone who wanted to come and.
That's fine.
That's why I'm hesitant to.
Hear me out on my concern though. So if it's voted and then somebody does argue the fact after, like, well, I'm not following that, I'll do what I want with my windows, and it turns out that it was not properly warned in a meeting to accept, then we got a court fight. So it just.
That's, 2 weeks is not a big deal. We've been at this for a year plus, a year and a half plus.
I think,
I was on the board when.
The next
when we
meeting is
started.
after
It will be,
town meeting day.
yeah, it'll be 4 weeks.
Yeah.
it'll be
sorry
March
about it.
17th.
It's still not, it still doesn't,
Okay.
it doesn't hurt our
Affect.
timeline.
And it doesn't change the fact that you did a very good job on putting that together. It looks good. I just
Yeah, that's
think we
fine.
properly warn it and then you motion bring it in if we could. Yep. Anything else for our planning commission while we have them here aboard? Thank you very much. We appreciate the work that you're doing and keep up the good work. You're doing fine. I want to bring this public hearing to an end. Yeah. Is it now 7 o'clock?
6:59.
7 o'clock. Just turned.
Just turned 7 o'clock. So what I'd like to do is call the meeting of our regular select board together. We've already done the pledge, so I think we're good there. Any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, one tonight. We received the bond documents for the new Public Works building that need to be signed. I'd like to add the signing of bond documents under new business, please.
I'll entertain a motion to have under new business D, signing of the bond document for the Department of Public Works.
I will make a motion to add the signing of the bond document to the new business for the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Rich. We know what we're doing? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Item 4 on our agenda, approval of the minutes from February 3rd. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of January 3rd.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by,
February 3rd though.
oh, January 3rd, that's right.
February 3rd.
February 3rd.
February 3rd.
No, it was February 3rd. It was February 3rd.
Did I put January on the meeting?
Nope.
I missed.
Someone said
I
January.
misspoke, it's February 3rd.
February 3rd. We have a motion by Rich, a second by Keith. Any discussion, errors, omissions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Department head reports, Joe. It looks like it's falling to your lap.
All about me today. Okay, let's start with our police department. So over the last 2 weeks, our police department's had 5 arrests, 109 traffic violations, 36 written warnings, 2 car crashes, 3 overweight permits were issued, and 11 sets of civilian fingerprints were completed. Bear with me. Still bear with me. And Mr. Breezy, Patrolman Rodney Breezy, I think I said that right, he's starting his 8th year with the department. So we congratulate him on his 8th year. Also for the police department, I don't know if the board got this, got a letter in their mailbox. This has to be one of the nicest letters I think anybody has ever sent to the town of Fairhaven for the police department. This young lady, she was going through a real hard time, and at the time, I think it was Shane Carvey, and then the chief, they had to do their job and, you know, worked with her as police officers. At the time, she did not appreciate that, but as she got out of her hard times, she sent a nice letter saying, "Thank you for putting me on the back on the right course." This was a really great letter. I wish I had the words to say how wonderful it is, but we just want to recognize the good work that our police department does. It's not just about throwing people in jail; it's about getting people back on their feet. So, thank you to that young lady.
You did a nice job.
From my office, nothing quite that exciting. We finished up our performance reviews for staff last week. Everybody did a reasonably good job. We did have a burst pipe. That cold weather, we had kind of a back storage room, and that pipe was on the outside wall. We had a burst pipe. Luckily, the chief was there. We caught it. Took about 5 minutes. It got it cleaned up like that fast. So, maybe minor damage. You're trying to clean the water stain out of the carpet, but other than that, nothing too bad.
Where in the building?
In the police department. The installation project is complete. The insulation was installed. Insulation, yeah. Yeah. So that's great. I noticed an improvement in our heat retention like right away. This hallway sometimes gets cold. With that insulation, the temperature slowly came back up. It was literally that day. So thank goodness that's done. And that was all done on a grant. Like the town of Fairhaven did not pay anything for that project. So we put 15 inches of cellulose in the attic. He did a nice job. The RFP for the housing project is out. I got a few responses back. I sent it to 16 different engineering firms. So we're looking forward to that. I bumped the due date back to March 27th just because I got it out about a week late. And the 27th lands, that's the Friday before a board meeting. Oh, I did apply. I've been on the tear applying for some money again. I submitted an AARP grant for $15,000 to get some lighting to put around the trees. That's just to kind of spruce up the park for our winter events, if and when we have any. We want to thank Eileen. It was a tough year to get those town reports out, but she managed to hammer them out. She got everything out on time. Like, I'm a big stickler about staying on our timeline, and she did a great job, so thank you, Eileen. And meet the candidates, that's still on, though we bumped it to the 21st. So Saturday the 21st at 2 p.m. We'll do a meet the candidates event over at the library where people can, who are running for office, can come and explain why they're running for office and then their position on any number of topics. And that's what I got for you.
Questions for Joe? Water plant, we were going to look into seeing what it was for the leak, and anything move on that yet?
Yep, so we released a request for proposals, months ago. Mike chose the same engineer that is working with Carrie on her collection system. So they'll be out to take a look at the facility itself for the filters. They've already looked at it once, but they're gonna do a more in-depth look at it, and then we'll start pulling cost proposals together.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a cheap thing. The filters alone are $500,000.
Good.
Did you say 500,000?
Are they,
Major
they
change.
help us with grants also? Or,
They will, what I've found when we've done almost every project is it's always a loan. Somewhere between 3% and 5%. I've not had a grant yet for a water system.
No. Rose, you have a question?
Jill, is the insulation the last thing that needed to be done upstairs? So will we be all set to have our pre-town meeting up there?
Next year, not this year.
Okay.
I was close, but I had to get the warning out before, so the fire department's moved a lot of their stuff out. Mr. Wilson finished one square up, the final square up there, and I've painted a goodly portion, so we swept it up. It's coming along nice. The fire department, in fact, tonight is having a training on the second floor. So for those who say, well, why are we even doing this? We can have our police training and fire training. I know West Rutland, they'll have, VLCT will have their trainings in West Rutland. We can do that here now because we have the space, and that brings people, and they'll spend their money in our community instead of in other communities. It's just a minor positive, right? So.
Good. Okay, moving right along, old business, there's none. New business. A, approval of the state road and bridge standards.
Yep, so this is, wrong document. So we've been approving this for decades. I looked back, the earliest I could find it was 2003, I think, but this is something the town approves every year, and it allows us to get grant money to maintain our roads. I just need the board to approve the standards again and then sign this document.
I need a motion to accept the road and bridge standard proposal.
I'll make a motion, we accept the road and bridge standard.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion, questions?
May we?
You want to see the document?
Yeah, would that be?
Look it over first.
Right.
Not sure that I've
They have
seen
a
the
standard
document before.
form document that each
Yeah.
year they come out with and plug in the data to.
Okay.
I think that's signed by the whole board
The board and the clerk?
and the clerk. So we've had a motion, a second. Any other questions, comments?
You wanna sign first?
All those? No, go ahead and sign. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll get one piece of business at a time. While you're signing that, the next item, item B, is the annual highway mileage certificate.
Similar to the road and bridge standards, the Board of Selectmen approve this every year. It's just telling the state how many miles of road we have. They did apply, so they put Munger back in our list, but they applied that last year, so you'll not see it. There's no changes here because Munger was added last year.
And how many miles is that?
You're at 36.355 miles. 36 miles of road.
Woo-hoo!
So I need an approval on that one too.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the highway mile certificate.
I'll make a motion to approve the highway mileage certificate, annual highway mileage certificate.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Sam. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
This is just like the other one we all signed.
to the, yeah, anywhere in that section.
Did that have to be signed as well, mileage?
Now, the item, let's see, C, town meeting discussion, and we have brought Ceil, our moderator, here, because I wouldn't dream of having a town meeting without first checking in with Ceil. Do you want to, Ceil, tell us what you usually do at town meeting?
What I usually do?
Yeah, as far as moderating and setting the thing up, what we can expect.
Well, this will be my last one. I'm not running for town moderator again, but, so hopefully someone will step up. Actually, we start the same way every year with a list of, do's and don'ts about town meeting. As a moderator, you try to keep the meeting always civil. So I try to do that. I try to, if there's any kind of differences of opinion, so I'll say who is for this, or I need somebody who's for it, and then somebody who's against it. So yeah, I don't know, I've been doing it a long time, and
Do you want to say how many years?
I don't know, but I think I started 2011 or 12. I can't remember. It was after I, retired. Actually, Peter Neary died. And Julie Neary called me and asked if I would run.
I remember that.
So I've been, yeah. So I, she said, remember when you asked me to be on the school board? I said, yes. She says, okay, well, I'm asking you to be the town moderator. So I've been doing it since then, and it's been a pleasure. I only missed the one when my mom died. But yeah, Chris Stanton took my place. But yeah, we're looking for a new moderator. We'd like to call it pre-town meeting. It's actually a budget hearing, and going over the warning, it's actually your meeting. Because we are Australian ballot. If we voted on one thing, then it would be considered a town meeting. But it's a pre-town meeting, just reviewing the budget. So I'm more than happy to serve as moderator. But I usually...
And for the most part, we usually behave ourselves.
Well, and I let you know if you don't.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, the moderator, because you can't refer to yourself in first person, it's the moderator.
What's the rules for discussion on, like, the items on the, can they be discussed in
Oh,
in
absolutely.
links?
Yes, because it's not
yes,
like being in the ballot
pos-
box.
The positives and the negatives of everything?
Yes, absolutely. And, we go by Robert's rules, which usually limits a person to 2 questions or 10 minutes. So I do have a little notepad up there. And see, how long people talk. Robert's rules can always be changed. You can say, we don't want to do this, we want to talk. The only thing, we don't have a bond issue, correct?
Correct.
Bonds are different. Bonds are,
Free game?
it's open season on bonds. You can ask anything you want to and go as long as you want to. Or till the moderator falls asleep.
Right.
Which came pretty close one year.
And with us, we'll be talking, probably the thing that should get, I'd be surprised if it didn't get quite a bit of discussion, is our local option tax.
Correct.
And Ceil is very good in saying, make your statements to the moderator so you don't get 2 people fighting and disagreeing.
Right.
I think everyone has a right to have their own opinions and have them
Absolutely.
heard, but it's better when you
And
make
I tell them everybody likes
It's not
me, so
personal,
don't yell
right,
at
it's
me.
not personal, it's just, you just make them,
Yeah, now all questions are always directed to the moderator. There we get a lot of back and forth sometimes, and I try really hard not to do that. You know, especially when we get into a volley, it's really not.
and I think we're having 2 handouts, how many, a couple handouts?
Yeah, so just two this year, the normal graph that kind of shows where we were last year and what happened this year. And then my, where the money goes, just the pie chart that shows you the big hunk of where the cash goes. I have a question.
Sure.
So this question is for Ceil, for the moderator. So I was driving in thinking about Fairhaven and town meeting. I have a lot of good conversations in my office, just one-on-one. And most everybody that comes to town meeting are people I know and people that I get along really well with. For the last article on the ballot, it's like other things to be discussed or other things to be, would it be inappropriate to just, for me, I'm thinking me, to ask and the board what your ideas are on this? Could I just ask, you guys want to talk for a minute? Because I would really just like to sit down and chat with everybody, all of my friends, all at once. Is that weird? Is that weird?
It's a little Mr. Rogers.
Welcome,
That's never been a bad
As
thing.
you tie in your shoe.
As long as no one makes a motion, because you can't make a motion. You know, but as far as a discussion, as long as it's germane to what's on the warning.
Because there's a lot of misinformation, and I feel like instead of just sitting in a line and people hammering the board and myself, maybe we could just talk about it for a second. How do you guys feel about that?
It might clear the air on a few things. If people have questions or concerns, you might be able to just discuss it in the normal Joe Gunther way.
All right.
I support you. I'm not optimistic that it'll accomplish the goal that you're trying to
Right,
accomplish,
right,
but I
I-
support you.
Exactly.
I'm sitting back saying, there's a lot of ways this can go south in a hurry.
Does it go-
But that's just, I understand, but
It won't go south.
I understood.
Well, and by the last one,
It's been a long
quite a
night.
few people have left.
Oh, it's been a
I was just
long
gonna
night.
say,
It'll be, if it's like with the questions and on some of the items we have, we could be
I mean,
a
the
long
1%, correct, the 1% tax option tax. I mean, this is not the first time it's come up though, so.
right.
All right, I'll skip my Mr. Rogers moment. But I thought, how nice would it be just to sit and talk just like normal?
If
Make it
it
first on the
goes,
ballot.
if it
Make it
goes
first.
really well, and usually what I'm talking about is when, if you've been there for 2.5 hours and you've watched the crowd that started and then it dwindled
I mean, we don't
down to
have a
where
big crowd. We don't have the crowds we
You get-
used to have.
35
Yeah, maybe.
is a big crowd. And it dwindles down to 10. I
You
don't
can
know.
sit by the door as we're going out
Right, just chat as we go?
and chat.
That's not a bad.
Recession line.
Yeah, I mean, you can always have a community
Sorry
forum.
for you, Lo.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, maybe like an informal chat with Joe,
Yeah,
once a month or something.
yeah.
Yeah, see, that'd be fun.
On PEG TV, just invite them and
You can.
Would be
do that.
Mr. Rogersy, I will wear my cardigan.
invite PEG TV and sit right here and talk to people.
To do that.
One of
Yeah,
my,
we'll do that instead.
They're
Call
pretty
it.
great.
one of my biggest questions is, this whole, a lot of years now, you got the budget, first item, second item. Beyond that, all the articles, that's called the appropriations. I don't think most people know what this is all about. I don't think people really realize those appropriations will raise our taxes beyond what our percentage that we have all sat down and worked so hard all year to come up with. And we come up with 4.25% for our operating budget.
Is there room?
But if you put all them, if you add them in after the fact, we're 23, 24%. And I don't think people realize that.
Now that is stated, I believe, on this
But no one knows that.
somewhere. Totally understood. But I wonder if did you design this with distribution in mind to give this to people
I
on
did.
the day? Might we read this before we go into the discussion of appropriations, or can we read it after the first appropriations item is
About 10
introduced?
minutes,
Or
Can we talk about it before we
Say
say?
what you want.
because I think you're very right, Rich, and we can certainly make that point clear by simply standing up and stating it. I don't know, beyond that, I don't know what else we could do. Did
Start
you have
off-
something in mind?
Start off with it.
Well, the hardest part is that, like you said, we might get 750 people to vote. We have a lot more registered voters in Fairhaven than that, but you might not get more than, it depends, 500, 700 people. And if only 35 come to the
We're not,
pre-town meeting,
we're not,
you're not getting.
we're not reaching the people.
You're not reaching,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
this is a problem I'm having all the time. I run into people, they're dead set against something. And you can't convince them that it would be so much better to spread things out, you know, financially.
You know how you reach them is be a keyboard warrior.
I just tell people every time they're complaining online, have you been to a town meeting?
It's unbelievable. It is so, so frustrating for
It's
me.
easier to type it.
Right. Right, and I'll argue with people that go to the town meeting.
So we introduce each ballot item and the clock starts. We're free as members of the select board, I assume, to stand
raise
and
your hand,
speak.
I recognize you, absolutely.
Okay.
And there might be, sometimes it's a question from the person to understand the article, and if you have the answer to that question, feel free to share that. That's what we're all there to.
And I just read it right off, right in, you know, number one, is there any, you know, are there any questions or comments? And, you know, and I give people, or the moderator gives, ample time. Because I'll look around, this is your only chance, you know, those kinds of comments. And then I go, move on to Article 4.
Should I say it? May I be recognized, or how would
Raise
you?
your hand.
I just raise my hand.
Just make sure I see it, I do have glaucoma.
And
Do that.
That's right.
Way mildly.
Most of these articles that are on here, the appropriations, did not come from this select
No,
board.
they're by petition.
They're petitions
And we read by petition.
from the people.
Correct.
But I don't think they realize what it does to their taxes. I don't think they have a clue. It might be a half a dozen, but from what I've been hearing out there, I don't.
You and me both.
And if I put on my Castleton Community Center and my Fairhaven Free Library and my other hats, I think, we had a meeting here to talk about that and how difficult it is for many of our social service agencies to run. As you all know, many things have been cut. The Historical Society had a meeting last night, and we recently had a speaker through Vermont Humanities, but that money's dried up for the year. So if we want another speaker, we're gonna have to wait until the next round of funding. PEG TV, Public TV, all these organizations that run on government funding are having a very difficult time. So, which is why a lot of, I don't know, Joe, but did anybody come in with a new petition to raise? I know the community center did not.
the library raised, the rescue squad raised, and the 525,000 paving for Scotch Hill came, so that those were there, along with the 50,000 we as a board put there that was supposed to get 150 to 200,000. That was our plan to address the Scotch Hill. So there are some increases from last year.
I have to admit, being on the library board, in years past, we've had to raise it because we weren't meeting, we weren't paying our employees minimum wage. And that had to stop really quickly. So, you know, it's not that, you know, when you look at that line item, there's 5 people that are being covered with that thing. And that doesn't even include, you know, thankfully Joe, and we're getting off the topic of meeting, but Joe, you know, applied for a HUD grant because we've really been looking. And we know a year and a half ago, 2 years, it was $125,000. I have no clue what it will be now, or if we can find, you know, someone who the state approves of to do the masonry work on the building.
We try at that town meeting to get a representative, especially if you're raising what you're asking for there, to talk to it. But I thought one of the good things we did this past year that I would recommend we do again in this coming years, we invited, after hearing that a lot of nonprofits can't be everywhere, there's meetings every place, we invited them in here and we had a great discussion. I thought it was important for me to find out about the troubles that they're having and the good that those folks do. It might be to address some of what you're saying, to help people understand, hey, look, it is an addition too. So when you're just consciously know it's not baked into the budget, so when you're saying yes or no, understanding what you're doing, as long as you do that, I think, because I thought that was helpful, bringing them in, and I think they really appreciate the fact that
Case in
we
point,
invited
City
them
Valley
in.
Care. What they used to buy for, let's say, $250, it now costs, for the same amount of food, $500 to $700. So, you know, it's the money we're giving them isn't going nearly as far as it used to be, and yet the need has way past double.
Anything else before I move on to the next item on the agenda? I think we,
Yep, town meeting is March 2nd,
March 2nd.
7
Yes, it is.
7 o'clock.
Yep. School library.
at the school
School
library.
And they know to open the door for us.
Yes. What's the young lady's name that sits at the front desk now?
I don't know, I don't know.
Hannah Fifield.
Hannah, yeah.
Hannah?
Yeah, I talked to Hannah already. Thank you.
Okay,
It used to be Terry DeMassey, but she retired.
Hannah's great, I was telling them.
okay, yes, sir.
What time are they gonna open the doors?
I don't know, but we usually ask at 6:30,
6:30.
but that doesn't
For a
always.
7 o'clock meeting, for the 7 o'clock meeting?
Correct.
I'll get there.
And sometimes Bill Humphries comes and he has a key.
Yeah, and will let us in, and
he can
we'll
let
go look for a flag so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
There should be one in the library, there's always one in the library normally.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had to go look for one.
Last year.
Sometimes we find something. Where do you find a flag? Okay, I'd like, if we got that, I'd like to,
Thank you very much.
thank you for coming in.
Thank you,
Ceil.
Thanks, Ceil.
And thank you for all your years of being a moderator.
Yes, but see, next time I get to come and talk.
Okay, under new business, I have D that we amended to the agenda, signing of the bond document for the DPW building.
Yeah, let me make sure. Okay, we have 3 documents for the board to, we have 2 documents for the board to sign and 1 only for Glenn.
What would the motion,
So I'm
what kind of
gonna,
motion are you looking for?
sure, so I will use this as an example. This is the general obligation bond document. If I said, like, here's your general obligation bond document, motion to approve the general obligation bond, and I'll do that 3 times with 3 different
Okay.
documents.
That'll work for me.
Okay, general obligation bond.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the general obligation bond document?
I will motion to approve the general obligation bond document.
Motion by Sam, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Rich. This one is signed by the whole board. We know what we're doing. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm waiting for it.
The next one is the resolution and certificate document. This is also for the entire board.
I'd entertain a motion for the resolution and certificate document to be signed by the board.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that
Motion by
motion.
Keith, seconded by Sam. We know what we're doing on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last one's for Glenn. This is the loan agreement signed by the Fairhaven Chair of the Select Board.
I'll entertain a motion to have the chair sign the loan agreement document.
I'll make a motion to sign the loan agreement, or to have you sign the loan agreement document.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Yep.
Seconded by Rich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Just in case anybody asks, we did take possession of the building using bridge funding. Right, so the town approved the purchase. We had to go to the bank and borrow that money from them. And now this is the bond that will pay off that loan, and then this is your 30-year bond to start the full repayment. It's just, there's a timing issue with the bond bank is all. Thank you.
So moving on to 2 minutes for public comment. Yeah,
My name is Cynthia Toffas Hutchins. I have been living and raising my family in Fairhaven for the better part of 14 years. I will admit I don't know how local government works, but I am here to ask to consider to update the current 1 acre requirements for backyard chickens. While it may have made sense decades ago, it no longer reflects how many communities responsibly manage small-scale poultry today. Across Vermont, towns have modernized their ordinances to allow a limited number of hens on residential lots with clear guidelines such as no roosters, thoughtful coop locations, and sanitation standards. These policies focus on responsible ownership rather than lot size alone. Our current acreage requirement unintentionally excludes many families, while in practice appears not to be consistently applied. If you drive through Fairhaven, there's plenty of families who don't live on an acre lot who do have chickens. Updating the ordinances would create clarity, fairness, and consistency, and consistent enforcement for everyone. Backyard hens are quiet, manageable, and produce a modest amount of waste that can be composted responsibly. They support local food access, teach children responsibility, and strengthen household food resilience, all values that align with small Vermont communities. I respectfully ask the board to consider reviewing and modernizing the ordinance to allow a responsible number of hens under clear enforceable guidelines. Thank you for your time.
thank you for your comment.
Very well.
We don't, if you want clarification, but we don't answer on 2 minutes for public comment. It needs some, in order to have a discussion on that, it really should be warned on an agenda so that the people, you get both the people for and against.
I'm not looking to adopt any changes to our ordinance tonight, Glenn. I just wanted to voice some thoughts.
Again, 2 minutes for public comment is not a two-way discussion. Your thoughts, other people would want to hear, and hasn't been properly warned. So
There's board roundtable though, I'm sure.
on board roundtable, you can say, yes.
Fair
What do I
enough.
do now?
It's up to the board now. On the public comment, it's up to the board to decide if it is something that the board wants to look into. It will be warned on an agenda, and then it'll be able to be discussed, so all the pro-chicken can come and and all the anti-chicken that says not in my backyard are here so they can be heard by the board,
Do
so
you
the
see
board can
any
understand.
reason I couldn't address Cynthia during the roundtable?
If the roundtable, you have an opportunity to say what you want.
Okay.
Addressing
I'd
this
just like to
subject.
ask her some questions.
You want to clarify what she said, go ahead, you can do a clarification.
Okay.
Now or during the round?
And I should limit my.
I
should limit my
I would
speech to
want you
clarifying
limit-
questions
2 minutes
only?
for
Is that what
public
you're
comment
saying?
is not for a debate on a topic that comes in. It's
Not
so
looking to debate, Glenn.
No, but it's for someone to come in and say, I have something. Thank you very much. That's how we can't respond differently to when people come in and bring something up.
Okay, I haven't
already
actually
discussed.
said anything about what she's said yet.
I know, if
I've
you,
only asked you questions.
if you want a clarification for what she said, you can ask it.
Have you discussed this with anyone else in the community?
My husband,
Your husband?
he gave me permission to finally ask for chickens.
Um,
I've wanted chickens for a long time. No. I mean, yes, I put it on the Facebooks.
Do you mind if I ask how many acres you currently live on?
Do you know where the giant skeleton is up on South Main Street?
I don't think I
That's
do.
my house.
Okay.
I have an itty bitty tiny lot. I think it's .24.
0.24. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a deep backyard.
I know where she lives.
Big skeleton.
I go right by it every day.
That is as good a landmark as any.
Has a bikini.
The 12-foot skeleton? Is he 12 feet?
He's taller than my house is.
It's too.
Big fan.
Any other clarifying questions?
Not a question necessarily, but
Then, thank you for your comment.
would you be willing to? Here's a question: would you be willing to wait for board roundtable?
Yeah, I'm sticking
We're
around.
leaving. Okay.
I want to see those pants out.
Any other
I do.
2 minutes? Yes, Sam.
So, town-owned parking lots. Say around the park. That's owned by the town, correct? I stepped out of my truck the other day. 1 foot hit the ground and I sailed out of my truck. Literally sailed. Because it was so slippery. I hit my head on my running board, bounced off the ground, and was laying flat on my back in front of the park. I mean, there was nothing, no salt, no sand, fully snowed. About an hour later, I'm thinking, oh, did somebody see me? Because Joe was out on the town site. Be careful up the sidewalks. I've heard children are falling.
I did not say that on Facebook.
You said the sidewalks, you said it somewhere on the
I
town
did not say
website.
children are falling on sidewalks.
Well, you said you heard that some had fallen.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, it
No, I
was
did not.
similar.
No,
Well,
but
it was similar.
it's your 2 minutes. It's your 2 minutes.
But can we take better care of those? I literally am like, wow. As fast as I flew out of my truck on 1 foot.
Where were you?
I was at the park, parking in front of the park on Main Street.
Across from the bank? Across from the bank?
Further down, across from downtown. And wow. It was painful.
No, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
very
sorry.
painful.
Thank you. Any other 2 minutes for public comment? Okay,
The lady over there.
okay.
My name's Lori Notarino. I just wanted to comment, is there some place, I know, this is about the sidewalks. First I want to thank Department of Public Works for doing the best they can. Is there some place where we as, like if we find a public area owned by the town of Fairhaven, like on the sidewalks or the crosswalk, I didn't fall, but it was another time I had to step over the bank, but not to complain, but is there somebody like we can report this to if Public Works doesn't know it's there instead, you know what? That's what I was just wondering.
Call town hall.
Huh?
You can call me.
Okay.
It's not a question, so I won't say it.
Prost.
Well, first I wanted to make mention of all the work that the fire department has been digging out the fire hydrants. And I know that they were kind of hoping that like people around town can adopt fire hydrants, you know, to dig them out whenever there's a storm. Is there a map, like, where the fire hydrants are so people could do that?
I don't know if there's a fire hydrant map or not. Jim might have one.
If it's
Don't
buried.
all fire hydrants at a certain time of year have to have like that flag or that pole up in the air?
I don't think it's a law, but
No,
I'll ask.
I just see them normally around this time of year, they're always sticking up, so if there is deep snow, they know where it is if there's an emergency.
I would think the water department would have to maintain some kind of map of the fire hydrants.
I would honestly check with Mike. Mike might have something on file. You think?
It's just something that, if maybe we could get it on the town website at some point, that maybe, no?
There's so much junk on that website, Roseanne.
I was just
It's
thinking
hard
that
to
maybe
keep
we
it
could,
Can you repeat that?
There is a few people around town that do
Take
that
care,
already.
take care of their.
They know where,
I
they know
just-
where their fire hydrant is near their home, and they usually shovel it out. There's a.
I
there's-
don't
there's
remember
two or
where
three-
the one is.
There's 2 or 3 people on Grape Street that do it every storm.
Well, I'd
Got
like
people
to
on
get something
Dunn Avenue that
going
clean
up
out
on
the fire
South Side.
hydrants.
You'll
There were.
you'll definitely want it cleaned out if there's a fire.
But your question of, is there a map, sounds like we don't know for sure, and maybe
Oh, it's Jim.
Joe will find out. Any other 2 minutes for public comment? Hearing none, moving on to parking lot. Ward, anything in the parking lot?
I think as we already discussed, we want to wait for more ordinance discussion until the new board is formed.
Roundtable. Sam,
I find your proposal intriguing. I am inclined to agree, Glenn, that there would be strong feelings on either side of a change to zoning that would allow for chickens to be kept on lots under an acre. That wouldn't surprise me at all that we would have a very strong opponents to any kind of change like that. However, had we spoken a month ago, Cynthia, I would have urged you strongly to put together a petition to have that question put on our ballot. And I don't know if that thought had occurred to you, but it is too late now to have such a thing done for town meeting day. But it happens every year. So if we, not that it ought to wait that long, however, I think everyone here on the board, my general feeling is that making too big a change without the political will to do so, meaning a strong sense that the town and its voters actually want to do something like that, I'm reticent to do that. So even though I might personally sympathize with your interests to keep chickens on your quarter-acre lot, I wouldn't want to let my own personal feelings about it lead my decision making if we were to discuss making a change like that. And also, I assume it would go to the zoning. Would it go to the zoning board of authority for discussion? I don't know. Okay.
I'd be careful about, you can petition anything you want, but if you have a health officer and a health issue, it isn't going to matter what you.
Certainly, but it does serve as a.
I just
but it
didn't
does
want to
serve
give
as
a
a.
false expectation.
But
that's
it does serve as a litmus test for how the community and its residents feel about something, and it's not something. It's not virgin territory. It's something that many towns, as Cynthia pointed out, throughout the
It's not
state,
Burlington
have.
allows chickens.
But before we go, you're getting into that whole discussion, and we don't have.
Before you cut me off, maybe I'll just finish my thought, and then we can move on to another topic. How
You
about
can, as
that?
long as you don't go into areas you shouldn't be treading on.
Which area was that, Glenn?
Responding and trying to debate the issue here. This is not for
I'm
debate.
not trying to debate the issue, Glenn.
Finish your comments.
All right. Thank you very much for putting that together and bringing it to us. I really appreciate whenever someone from the town brings something that they feel this passionately about and takes the time to think it through and make their case the way that you've presented your case, because I think you do present a very strong case. But But to my earlier point, the next time we discuss it, if you have the time or the inclination to gather more support from people in the community to your cause, I think it could only strengthen your case. And that would be my suggestion.
Like all the houses that fly under the radar of the ordinance?
If you bring them, I will send the police to them.
The police will go down and their chickens will be gone the following
Oh, I'm
week.
not gonna do that.
That we've done in here. Be careful
Yeah, careful.
that you're getting advice to go do something that's going to get
Because
you
it's really
alienated by your neighbor.
frustrating that there's an ordinance that isn't followed, and us that don't have good relationships with our neighbors, we can't fly under the radar.
I won't say it's my understanding that there have already been instances brought to my attention where enforcement has been attempted. It is a difficult process to enforce, but it's not something that we don't have an interest in doing, enforcing the ordinances. But, I think resources are allocated as they're able, and
Well, we're not the chicken patrolman, right? We don't go out looking for trouble, but if trouble finds us, if trouble walks in the door, we have to address it.
If someone has a problem with chickens next door, that someone's not living to our policy,
Yeah.
contact the town manager. It will be addressed and has been addressed in the past, and it will be addressed in the future. Is the best answer I can. Sam, anything else?
that's all I got on that.
Keith?
I just have a couple things. One is, what is the ordinance on chickens? Does anybody know off the top
1
of their
acre.
head?
1 acre.
lot.
Anything
How many can you have?
over an acre?
10, you can have. I
It
think
spells
it's
out the
10
number of
poultry,
chickens. It's a very clear ordinance, I would.
10 on 1 acre, right?
and
On the
there's
town
a
website,
Specific setback from road and property line that is well greater than the small lots in town.
Thank you, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
very
it's
much.
it's not listed in the ordinance as chicken ordinance, it's keeping of live animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my other thing is, I think it was last week when we had the freezing cold weather, my pipes froze and it froze my water meter in my house. Now it's at a standstill, and luckily it was in the afternoon. I called Joe up. I said, hey, I'm just curious if you're able to get a hold of Mike for me. My water meter just broke, and when it released, it just blew apart my cellar, and I have water all over my cellar. He was instantly on the phone with Mike, and Mike and an employee from the water department came and helped me replace it. And I just want to thank Joe for the help there, and thank our water department for coming out such a cold, because it was very cold that day, for helping me out in my time of need. It was much appreciated. Thank you very much, Joe, and to Mike, and I don't remember his employee's name, but thank you guys. Jeff, they were very good with it, and appreciate their help.
Rich?
I don't have anything tonight.
I haven't got anything either. Let's move on to reviewing the financial reports with Chad not here. Do you want to make the motions for us?
Okay, you ready?
No?
Go.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the payroll of $39,868.49.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Seconded by Sam. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the warrants of $157,459.69.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Keith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Checkbook status is $1,283,084.93.
Gotta be a school payment coming along here pretty soon.
Probably next time.
Thank you. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313A1 for real estate contract and employee review.
I will make a motion to go in executive session for BSA 3131 on real estate contract employee review.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Sam. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming tonight, folks.